Hey man, Chris, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today.
Sounds good. Thank you, Joe.
So let's begin our conversation before we get into your work. I'm curious, you know, we're entering a new year. We survived a pandemic. How much of living and going through that pandemic and everything that you had to do to get through it has created waves that you still feel today?
Well, I'll say like the pandemic was personally for me it was difficult because I had like a habit to work out every day and all the gyms were closed. Um, so it was more like let's just say a time where I got very depressed and it affected the business more because my mind pretty much when your mind is not into it, then it reflects on the business. So like the biggest challenge was not really to work on the business, it was to work on myself so that I get back to the mindset condition I had before COVID, right?
So
That yeah.
let me ask you this. Let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. And to do that, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of grade schoolers, third graders. It's career day, and one of the kids in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
Well, I'll say for a living, I have a pest control business that I started because I had a problem where I was doing investment, real estate investment, and pretty much I transform a problem that I had into a business opportunity. So pretty much what I'm saying is I'm solving problems that I meet in life and I convert it into opportunity to get financial freedom. So that means having problems is good.
You know, it's interesting. I All of this entrepreneurship is new to me to a certain degree. I've come from the creative world, so I think in a different way. And I remember at one point I was interviewing somebody and they said, an entrepreneur, if you go after it wanting billions and billions of dollars, there's a good chance it's going to fail. But if you go into it solving a problem, your chances of success and doing it for the right reasons is going to completely shine through.
Yeah, yeah, because pretty much your focus is not on the money, it's really on solving a problem.
Yeah.
And if you found that it was a problem for you, there's great chance that it's a problem for others as well. So you already kind of check that, when they always say do a market study when you start, but most of the time the market study is done. If you're starting it for that reason, it's because you probably already try to solve it with the solution that exists and there's something missing, so there you go. There's a need, then there's an opportunity, right? So
Yeah.
that's what has to be understood. And so the biggest things here, really, if I was talking to anybody, especially young people, is um, most people when they face a problem they will just give up and they will just change their way. But if you try to see the positive in anything, then you are able to pretty much convert the problem into an opportunity, right? And
Yeah.
creativity, you come from the creative world. Well, I'm also mainly an artist, right? Myself, I'm doing music composition and things like this, right? So I have some affinity with your other aspect of jazz and things like this.
Yeah.
But the point is, having great creativity is a great way sometimes to be innovative and to think out of the box and then being able to bring solution that other people did not necessarily thought about.
So when you were in that position as a kid, third grader, what did you want to be when you grew up? What was your dream life?
So when I was a third grader, you see, I remember I was already having some entrepreneurship part of me. Like I talking about snow removal, I was already thinking about, oh, what about I could hire my younger brother and his friend to do snow removal. So I was already having entrepreneurship mindset. The things is I thought it could not be possible to do this because I thought doing business is very hard. And I was like, how can I do it? I'm only 9 years old, right? And how can I? It's just sometimes the psychological blockage that you have,
Yeah,
like, and a lot of kids will just think, well, I'm just a kid, so I cannot do that. I can only do that if I'm older. It makes no sense, right?
yeah,
Because in the end, that just, you could think about all the solution. You have figured out everything. I had pretty much figured out everything. And just because of that, I decided, oh, I think it's not a great idea. It's just, what a shame, right? So definitively, we this is here the problem. It's never outside. It's never having to work on something outside that is wrong. It's always about um or self, right? That we have to work on, and we have to think that the sky is the limit.
yeah. So take me back to your childhood. What were these foundational seeds that were planted that made you become an entrepreneur, that made you have this vision for your life? What were the things that were planted in you to get to that point?
So when I was a kid, I was very interested by everything. It's like I had a passion to just learn and to learn skill on any type of subject. And I was like, how am I going to achieve that if I work full time for 40 years? I'm like, I need to figure out a way to have more time to do everything I like to do. So, like business opportunity, like creating something that create a residual income, no matter how it's done, is the way to generate more time, right? So so it came from that. It came from that desire to have more time, pretty much.
Yeah. So who has been that inspiration for you in your career and in your pursuits? Kind of a hero in your life?
Well, I won't lie. I really admire, for example, Elon Musk, like the way he is. Like I think, like sadly, I was a little bit in the same path, like the same type of personality. Um, I was a little bit autistic as well, and like dreamer and everything. Like really, like the difference is really do not give up, right? He never give up on the project versus I gave up on pretty much all the startup project that I had until I was probably 34, 35. But all the projects I had before, like I was working hard on them probably for a year or two, and then difficulty was happening, and I was just getting too scared and stopping. And when you think about it after, it's just it feels like uh, trying to back out make life harder than if you had took the difficult choice, which will have make your life easier. So like really, like when I grew up, exactly, I did not really had like an exact model. I will think about it. Now that I grew up, I kind of I think Elon Musk is a great model to follow. Like I kind of see what I could have accomplished if I was perseverant, right? If I had, now I am, but it's not the same thing as, you cannot catch back time, right? And you need to build on those. Right? You cannot just go back on projects you passed when you were 20 years old. So the only things to do is just do the best with the time we have now, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. Like I think when I was a kid, I was just inspired by looking at like other people that accomplish things. I just remember my dad was always constantly telling me, "Hey, come and see this. Come and see this." Like in the living room on the news, they were showing um, like people that accomplished something special, and I was like, ah, I wish it was me, and I think maybe in my background, I probably had something that, oh, I could maybe impress my father as well. But I was just feeling, when he was showing me those things, I was just feeling, why is it not me doing that,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. On your path of being an entrepreneur, what's the best advice you've ever gotten?
It's definitively to not give up, right?
Yeah,
To when it gets scary and tough, that's to go through. It's easy to say, and in practice, defensively, when for example you don't have much more money coming down the bank account, and you see that you are close to personal bankruptcy or like having tough time like this, it gets very stressful. It gets stressful, and um, so sometimes we just, I don't know. This is really where the problem is. The problem is to control our mind and to be able to go through when there is like that fear, and and that's really what makes the difference between the people that succeed and at greater level. It's just they went through, and that's there's nothing we can do. We can only do the best now. For sure, I could be nostalgic. I am part of me. I'm like, wish I could go back in
yeah.
time and tell that to my younger self. But even sometime when you got the message and you read books that explain this is not the same thing as facing it
Yeah.
for real, right? When it happens for you, it's like, oh, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, totally.
Mm.
So let me ask you this. What motivates you to get up every day? What is the ultimate motivator for you to push yourself as an entrepreneur, but you also have to develop yourself as a human being? What is that collective energy for you every day to do this at the best of your ability?
Yeah. So every day what motivates me is pretty much to be thinking about my goals, right? My goal, I would like to give back to family, friends. um like I'm very generous. I like to give back to personally like close friends and family, but then on a larger scale I would like to do that on a larger scale, right? So what motivates me is if I succeed those projects, then I will not only I will have financial freedom, I will have time, I will be able to do more the things that I like, that I enjoy, but I will be able to give back. And when you give back, you feel so great, right? For example, I like to help people to figure out that there's a way to save tax, for example, right? There's sometimes even a way to legally not even pay tax. It's just there's like things they don't even know. But because I know that now, I like to talk to everybody about it, right? So, and I don't get any thanks for it. It's just the feeling to help others, right? Is just great when you make the difference in the life of someone. The money cannot buy that, really, right? So it just feels fulfilling, right? You could be. I don't want to be the tired guy that's just have millions of dollars, but nobody around me to enjoy it, and it's just very sad. And you know, money doesn't buy happiness, right? So it's all emotional, human side that is good. And when you are able to give, you just get even more.
So, of everything that you've done up to this point in your life and evolved into, what are you the proudest of?
What I'm the proudest of is for the current business I'm into is I really had to go through a very stressful time that was a lot more stressful than everything I had before. And this time I persevered and I went through, and then that's 10 years after, I can talk about it, right? And because the best feeling, the best confidence you can have is to know you went through tough time. Look, when I started, I was probably $80,000 in debt. I even working the job I had was not enough, going to be enough to pay everything, and still I had to take the few amount of money that I had and go all in, and to work two jobs that are 2,000 kilometers away from each other, um, just to go through, just to be able to pay the bill. So it was very stressful, um, but I did it, right. So at last, right, at last, maybe it took uh, 4 or 5 times, but this time it was, and it was not even comparable to the previous time. Not when I think about it, it's just what happened in the past was not even that scary, and I'm like, wow. Uh, So if I'm able to do that, I'm able to go even beyond. So next time it happens, I know I can do it.
So you had mentioned 10 years ago and now and how it's easier to talk about and things have gotten better. What if we talk in 10 years from now? Where do you want to see your business and professional life be at?
Well, it's really like I'm already working on more than I started to work on other ventures. So I already delegated like the CEO control to someone else in the current business. So now it's more about creating. Initially you start a business maybe by necessity to generate money, and after that, the other projects you do um, goes more into getting what you want in life personally. Like for example, that need to give back to people. Now I can start working on projects that are more giving back to people, to the community, right? So what I see myself in 10 years is probably having a foundation or having a school or something where I can work on younger people to kind of transmit the life experience I had, because it's always easier, right, to work with kids that are between 5 to 10 years. They're just absorbing the information, and you don't have to undo too many things and concept that people can have accumulated when they're already in their 20, right? So that's where you have the most impact. So that's where I see myself, right? Just giving back more, and focusing more on life, personal project.
So everyone out there, Chris, has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Well, I think I'm mainly an artist that has not really been showing what really I can do, because I've been just focusing on business. So people just know me about, well, he's a business guy, but I'm more actually um, I- I- I'm more into, let's say, music composition. That's what I wanted to do a long time ago, and I was like, well, um, that's something that people don't know about me, right? They don't know that side because I never took the time to push it enough, because I felt that I need to create a financial freedom first. But again, um, that's something that nobody knows about, right? And I would like to be able to bring this out and show what really is inside of me, so that they will understand as well why I'm more an emotional person. Sometimes
Yeah,
people are like, well, why is he so much colorful and changing things? Well, because I'm not internally a business guy. I'm more an artist, right? and
yeah,
and that's what you need to be if you're an artist, and you're just, when you play your song, you don't have any emotion, and it's just right, you don't bring the passion out, right?
yeah.
And yeah.
So if anyone wants to reach out, they want to hire you, learn more about what you're doing, whether it's business or music or anything that's going on in your world, where can they go?
Yeah, so what I could do is I could share with you like a QR code and a link for your video, so they can reach me. I generally help people like to achieve like financial freedom. So I generally do like a 30 minutes consultation with them if they want to. I can just They can just reach me on the QR code you will leave after the link. Another way to reach me is you can send me an email to Chris at WCPC, like a whiskey Charlie Papa Charlie .ca.
Wonderful. Chris, this has been great. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck. Have a great new year.
Thank you very much, Joe.